and welcome everybody to a very special episode of The Court, because we are live at the JNS Policy Conference, and I'm here with my amazing and beautiful co-host, Emily Schrader, human rights activist and journalist, and Shoshana Keats Jaskoll, the founder of Chochmat Nashim, elevated Orthodox women's voices in fighting discrimination. Ladies, we are at this incredible conference.
Yeah.
We've had some wonderful speakers. The content has been amazing. And yet, we go home, we switch on our phones or whatever we look at social media with, and all we see are scumbags and
Some
maybe
heroes. Some heroes.
So today, as we have a special short episode, and we know what you like, we decided just to talk about the scumbags and the heroes of the week, live here from the JNS Policy Conference in Jerusalem, our capital. Okay, ladies, are we ready?
We're ready.
How's it been so far? Emily, you've been on a few panels here.
No, I mean, the conference has been amazing. It's been great to hear from so many different people from all over who flew in just for this, and to have more insight from different experts across various fields in one place. Very, very much looking forward to the rest of the day today at the conference.
Me too, Shoshana.
It's exciting. It's amazing. I'm really, it's been a long time. I guess COVID and the war, we haven't done a lot of conferences, and I forgot how amazing it can be to be with really smart, intelligent, loving, positive Zionist people in one room. So it's really nice.
What a change.
Yeah, it's like to be surrounded by love.
Exactly. All right, so now we go on to scumbags. And
Yes.
Emily, let's start with you.
Okay, so mine isn't very original, and it's one I've done before, but I got to do it because this week was crazy.
Okay.
As I'm sure you guys heard about, there was a giant explosion in one of the ports in southern Iran. Once again, we see that this is due to, even the regime itself is admitting, due to negligence. This particular port is one that's used by the IRGC, by the Navy, quite a bit to export, import weapons, explosives, materials, and this last month was no exception.
What could go
They
wrong?
imported 24 containers of a chemical from China that's used to make missile fuel. So even while they're engaging in these nuclear talks with the United States, they are still actively trying to rebuild and build up their arsenal, whether it be nuclear or otherwise, which is another reason that I won't get into now, but another reason that these talks are so problematic. And I just think it's really, really heartbreaking to see how the regime continues to have these accidents. It's hardly the first time. Of course, the most notable being PS 752, the flight that the Islamic Republic literally shot down, a civilian airliner that they shot down full of their own citizens because they wanted to frame or accuse the United States of doing it. In fact, it turned out through the investigation, everybody found out it was them. And it's not the first time. There have been quite a few times that they've killed Iranian citizens in the name of false flag attacks or just sheer incompetence like we see now. And unfortunately, 40 people have been killed in this so far, in the explosion so far. There will definitely be more, and over 1,000 injured. So and not to mention there's a lot of toxic pollution in that area as a result of these explosions. And there were
Where's
also
Greta Thunberg?
Exactly. There were also additional explosions after the fact, which of course means secondary explosions, that they were storing other explosives in this area. So just complete incompetence, irresponsibility. And I want to ask anybody who's watching, if this is what the Islamic Republic does to their own people time after time after time on the ground inside of Iran, what do you think they're going to do if they actually have a nuclear weapon?
Yeah.
So think about that before we agree to any kind of a deal. Islamic Republic, you are once again my scumbag of the week. Really the year for the last 45 years, even before I was alive. Definitely scumbags.
Well done, Emily. And you know, when I first saw the explosion, you always think, did we do it?
Yeah.
But they are so negligent of caring at all about their own people. Like what happened in Lebanon, essentially.
Yep.
And they did this to themselves.
Yep.
Whilst
Again.
they're negotiating with the United States.
Yeah.
Shameful scumbags as usual. Okay, Shoshana.
Terrible. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, well, my scumbags, shocking, is the worldwide media spreading, modern-day blood libels against the Jewish state. Because you are still using Hamas's old numbers that have been proven false with another study that has come out. The claim that 70% of Gaza dead are women and children is demonstrably false, says a think tank again. And I want to understand, when will the media recognize that, thank God, we are now in social media, and people in social media know what you're doing. They know the truth, they expose the truth, and you are the liars that are running the world and running blood libels around the world. Anti-Semitism is a problem. When you are going to spread lies, and you rile up the crowds, and they go to synagogues, and they go on the streets, and they are punching Jews in the face, you are the culprit. So worldwide media, mainstream media, you are once again my scumbags, deservedly, for spreading the lies and not doing your jobs.
Absolutely. And they insist, and they quote it, and they keep quoting it. You say a lie enough times, and it becomes reality.
On, like main
Unbelievable scumbags.
And they're shameless.
Shamelessly still saying the same numbers when Hamas themselves are now saying that, was it 75% are combatant age men that have been killed?
Yeah.
I think that was the latest.
Well, the UN claimed it was 70% women and children.
Yes,
so.
exactly.
And then when you actually look into that data, you see, it's of a specific area in a specific time frame and actually has nothing to do with reality. And yet, this is what's repeated time after time, as you mentioned.
And do you
remember when there were like 40,000, do you remember when it was like 15,000 pregnant women? Like, where do you pull this number from?
And people are just eating it up.
Just inventing it as they go along. Yeah. And Netanyahu actually spoke at this conference last night, and he was talking, in fact, about casualty numbers when the Israeli army pulled out 1.5 million people from Rafah, not one dead.
That's right.
And that is what the world doesn't see or refuses to see. So they're fantastic. Scumbags, as usual. Mainstream media, do better, because you're no longer reporting the news. You're just reporting your fiction, and that's what's happening right now. Okay, now my scumbag is a little bit more mundane, but yet scumbags nonetheless, and that is the Swiss under-23 fencing team that got their tuchuses whipped by the Israeli under-23 fencing team. Who even knew we do fencing here, but apparently we do, and we're very good at it because we won the gold medal. And the Swiss fencing team won the silver medal, and the Italians won the bronze medal. But what happens at the moment when Israel, like any other country in the world, wins the medal and is listening to its national anthem and looking at the Israeli flag? These little whoever's turn their backs. So you have this picture of the two teams, the Israeli team and the Italian team, looking at the flag because Israel won fair and square.
Respectfully.
Yes, respectfully. And these little, I don't even want to say the word because we're live, turn around, and they don't even have the sportsmanship, the decency to acknowledge the country of the team that whipped their tuchuses. And this is what happened. But thankfully it has a happy ending, and we always like the scumbags with a happy ending, because the Swiss Fencing Association has completely disassociated themselves from these little four guys who did this and have said, we apologize. This is not what we do. This is not sportsmanship. And we didn't know they were going to do that. And so, yes, you are scumbags for not knowing the first thing about being a decent sportsman or sportswomen. In this case, there were four guys.
Yeah.
So you're my scumbags of the week.
And I would say that probably my scumbag influenced your scumbag.
Yes.
Because if they're watching the mainstream media,
absolutely,
of course they're going to think on all those lies. So they take these young kids who are there for sports, and they turn their backs to them. They don't respect the flag. They disrespect their own organization.
Exactly.
Sport, right? And I guarantee you, it's the mainstream media that has fueled this.
Of course,
this
mainstream media,
and it has real consequences.
And social media and everything, the onslaught that we're facing here. All right. But as we are positive ladies here, and we're in a positive conference, we want to talk about our heroes this week. So, Shoshana, you started off. Okay. Who's your hero of the week?
My hero has definitely been my hero before, Agam Berger, who was an observer, and she was also a hostage for well over a year.
Yes.
14, 15
well
months.
Well over a year.
And she came out, and she was my hero for the way that she held herself, the way that she held her faith up. So she was at March of the Living, which I did when I was 17 years old, and there were pro-Palestinians demonstrating. I guess they were on a high part, and Palestinians were down. I'm sure we have an image of it. And, you know, sometimes, I've said this before, last week particularly, I said sometimes just a curse is what you need to express yourself. And she just, flipped them off. I won't do it on air, but she just flipped them off. Very dainty.
Very gracefully gave him a middle finger.
Continued walking respectfully and just kind of gave her little flip off there. And I was just like, well, that's, yeah, okay. I'll put that.
What kind of sociopath protests at Auschwitz?
Exactly. I know.
Like, what
it's
is
not
wrong
funny.
with
was
you
like five
in
of
the
them.
head? Oh, I have an idea. Let me go to Auschwitz. with the Palestinian flag. It's insane.
Let me go to Auschwitz and advocate for a second Jewish genocide. Why don't I do that?
So she, being the lady that she is, kept marching, used the little finger to give a gesture, and kept moving. And so, Agam, you are my hero of the week. And yes, Emily, my scumbags, I can also say, are the pro-Palestinians who came to Auschwitz to demonstrate against the Jewish state. So
how sick do you have to be? But also, Agam did something else which was really, really emotional. Mm-hmm. She played the violin on stage.
She is a musician,
with a survivor. His parents were killed. With a singer. So the singer
and the violin itself was from the time of the Shoah.
Exactly. It was a violin from a Holocaust survivor.
So nice.
She played beautifully on stage. And then she had the grace and chutzpah to flip off these complete scumbags who came to Auschwitz to protest, as you do. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to another positive one because I just can't take this anymore. Emily.
My hero this week is actually Mark Levin. I've been a fan of his for a while, and I just have to applaud. He's actually here at this conference.
Yes,
I'm very much looking forward to hearing from him later today. But he's my hero this week because we're in a very difficult time with these nuclear negotiations. Even the U.S. administration is under a lot of pressure, and Mark Levin has been a very steadfast voice when it comes to having a tough approach when it deals to negotiations with the Islamic Republic. He's been very, very outspoken about what this regime really is, what they stand for, and what the United States and Western powers should do in response. And this is despite the fact that there's been some pushback. There's been different opinions about how the United States should approach this nuclear issue. And I just have to applaud him and say, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. He's regularly tweeting and posting about the Islamist Nazis, and that is an excellent way to describe them, who are running Iran right now under the Islamic regime. And I just want to encourage everybody to go listen to what he said in his monologue about Iran this past week. Absolutely fabulous. Every word is true. And I think that the entire world needs to hear this, including everyone in the Trump administration, before they make any final decisions about what a deal is going to look like or not look like when it comes to dealing with the regime. So, Mark Levin, you are my hero of the week.
Fantastic hero. We're very, very proud that he's here in the JNS conference. And he's been steadfast. I mean, I remember last year when Biden decided to slow roll or not give us the arms we needed to go into Rafah because they wanted to control what we were doing, he went on a rant against Biden. And so he's been steadfast, so clear.
I just want to add one more thing, that one of the things I actually really appreciate about Mark Levin and his criticism and his commentary in recent weeks is that this is something bipartisan. This isn't a right-wing or a left-wing thing. You see him amplifying John Fetterman, for example, Senator Fetterman, who's also been very outspoken about this, who's been saying, let Israel do their job. And this is what we've needed.
His party focusing on people who, in the United States who have, and he said they have food, they have justice, they have a warm place to, there's no due process, and there are hostages in tunnels who don't get food, who don't get sunlight.
That's right.
Due process. What is wrong with my party? So Fetterman is also a little bit of my hero this week. I just want to thank you.
So Mark Levin and Fetterman.
Fetterman is where the Democratic Party should be. Him and Richie Torres. For God's sake, we need more of you guys. Amazing, and he is a wonderful hero. We look forward to hearing him later on, so tune in from home. My hero this week is a country, Hungary. Now, a lot of people are very critical of Orban in Hungary, but again, moral clarity when it comes to Israel. And in fact, here at the JNS conference, we had his Minister of State, Peter Sarai, who spoke last night, unequivocally pro-Israel. But why are they my heroes this particular week? Because not only did Netanyahu visit Hungary, and they refused, of course, to enforce the arrest warrants, which have now been cancelled, I think, against Netanyahu, but they pulled out. They're the first European country to pull out of the ridiculous banana court, kangaroo court, which is the ICC. And once they've done that, it'll give courage to other people to do the same thing. So Netanyahu went to Hungary. They said to him ahead of time, don't worry, we're not enforcing it. And then when he was there, they pulled out. They stand strong with the Jewish people. They understand what self-defense means. That's what the Minister of State said last night. And so Hungary, God bless you. You are standing for us tall in Europe. Not many allies. Thank you so much. You're our hero of the week as well. And ladies, with that, we conclude
We're
our...
missing Daniel.
We're missing Daniel. We are. Stay tuned because later on in the day, in fact, at 4 o'clock Israel time, we're going to do a little showcase of the
Don't
talk
miss it. It's going to be great.
with Daniel on stage, give people a little taste of who we are and what we do. So stay tuned for the rest of the day. God bless you all for watching. Live from the JNS conference.